Hello, good morning. This is Andrew Michael. I'm a doctoral candidate at St. John's University, and some of my students that I teach statistics to at other universities have asked that I post a few SPSS programs, specifically on how to do a paired T analysis and how to do the setups of the data view and the variable view. So what I've done is I have actually gone into and created I've gone in and recorded a actual SAT pre and post test scenario, which for those of you that are education majors, you can use to actually test the impact that you're having on your students and the pedagogy that you're using in teaching. So what we do is we have down here, we have two buttons. We have a variable view and a data view. Now in the variable view, this sets up your different variables. So in compliance with the various laws in not revealing our participants' name and age and stuff like that, I've set up an ID variable on number 1, which is right here. Okay, I've set up an age variable, a sex variable, their first pre-test and their second post-test, and then what the difference is, and I'll explain how I use this difference later on. I've set these to numeric. The width I've given them is 4. There's no decimal points. The participant labels up here is just participant ID, their age, their sex, and that'll come out, of course, as male or female. I've assigned it a 1 or a 2, and it's very simple. If you had an other, you could just say 3 and type in other and hit add. Okay, but since we don't have that in this particular situation, we can just remove that and hit OK. So then when you type a 1 or a 2, you'll get either a male or a female. SAT press, there's no values there that need to be put in. There's nothing missing. The column widths are 8s. The rights, here's what we need to be concerned about, is the measures. Our ID is going to be a scale measure because it has 0 in it. Age is going to be a scale measurement because it has a 0 in it. Nominal is sex, so that's going to be where they take a choice of 1, 2, 3, 4, or left, right, up, down, or in this case, male, female. SAT pretest has a grade in it, so it has 0, so these are all scale. Okay, and then our numeric is going to have a grade in it, has a 0 in it, so it's a scale also. Now if we go over to our data view, you can see that I have set up 40 students, which is your typical number of students that will take an SAT test at one given time, or you may have in your class that you're teaching. Their ages I've assigned various ages, as you can see here. Most of them are minors. And they go as low as 14 years old and as high as 19 years old. Okay, their sex has been identified as male or female, and their scores that they received on the pretest, the post-test, and the difference has been identified. Now if you want to see these in number views, here they are in numbers, and I kind of like working with numbers a little bit better too. It's a little easier. As you can see here, this here is a student that's 17 years old, and based upon the number selected 2, she is a female. Okay, you saw how that went there. That 2 resumed a female, whereas this 1 down here referred to as a male. So when we went in and set them up on the variable view, that's what happened. Okay, so back up here to this one, she had a 450 on her pre-SAT, and she scored an amazing 1500, which is almost unheard of on the post-test, a difference of 1050. Okay, so now let's assume that you wanted to do a paired t-test analysis, and you want to see if your education, if your instruction is actually having an impact. So what we would do is we'd go up to, we'd say analyze, we'd go to compare means, and then we would just if my clicker will work with me, we'll just go down to paired sample t-test. And over here, we're going to get some variables that we want to choose. And of course, we're looking at the post-test and the pre-test, okay? And we want to say okay. Now, here's our data on that. As you can see, pair 1, SAT post-test, our mean was 1010.58, and on our pre-test, it was 708.05. So obviously there was some sort of difference. Our population is showing that everything here, that there are 40 students responding, so our population is consistent. Our standard deviation on our post-test is 367.817 and 321.676. Standard error is 58.15 and 50.86, so those are consistent. This paired sample correlation down here, you can pretty much ignore. This here is the one that we're mainly interested in. The paired sample test, paired differences. So pair 1, SAT post-test minus the SAT pre-test, gave us a mean of 302.525, okay? Our standard deviation is 321.547. Standard error mean is 50.84. It really doesn't matter too much there. In our 95% confidence interval, we have a lower end of 199 and an upper end of 405. What really matters here is the sig t two-tail. This is your p-value. As you can see, p is less than 0.05. So then in this case, we would the test is highly significant, and we would then, if our hypothesis was that the testing was not going to be successful, we would reject the null hypothesis. Okay, and we would say that the test is very significant. If this p-value here goes higher than 0.05, then it would be of no significance, and we would then accept the null hypothesis. Okay, so this is how you do a paired sample t-test, and I did want to talk to you real briefly about how you do the differences. Now, the differences column here is real simple. The way I got that is I went into transform, I took compute variable, and it's real simple. I said, let's call this I just called it differences, but let's just call this a score difference. Okay, and we need to keep that within vernacular for SPSS, so we have to put a little hyphen there, or excuse me, a little underscore, like that, and hit okay. And when we get down to type label, you can just say that it's going to be score, and oops, it's going to be score underscore difference. Sorry, I'm typing with one hand while I hold the microphone. Okay, and it's numeric. So we always want to use numeric because we assigned numbers. It can calculate strings, but then it gets a little bit more complicated. All right, and then all we do is we say, to get the score differences, what do we want to look at? Well, we want to look at our SAT post-test. We're going to put that up there. And we obviously just want to subtract what our SAT pre-test was. Okay? And then we put that up there. And then we just say everything's fine, and we hit OK. And then we look, and this is what it gives us. It's calculating, executed it. Okay, so then what we do is we minimize this. Now we have a new column here that says score differences. As you can see, it's the same as this column over here. Now, here's what we're looking for. We're looking for anything with a negative. Okay, so obviously, participant 1016 had an initial score of 688, finished up with a 450. He was a minus 238. Obviously, something happened that day. Maybe he wasn't feeling good. Now, these are fictitious values. These students never existed. This is just for explaining how to do this. And that would be what you would see in number 17 and number 18 as well, and anything with a negative. So, as you can tell here, though, you could also do the sum of these and get the mean and determine that way too. But for my advanced class, we could then go in and plot histograms and stuff, and that'll be taught in another video. And we can get degrees of freedom and scatter plot it out and see exactly where we lie at. But it looks to me as if this is going to be a positive indication, and that most of the students did extremely well. So I would conclude then, especially with the statistical data that we had shown to us, that with our p-value of 0.000, that it is highly significant and the test did work. All right, so look for more videos. Go to universal-professor, that's UNIVERSAL -PROFESSOR.com, and it's a secured website, https://www.universal-professor.com. My name is Andrew Michael. I have an MBA, and I'm currently a doctoral candidate at St. John's University. All that means is that I'm hoping to graduate in May of 2019. But look for more videos here, and I'll be posting more videos on research methodology, statistics, most anything that deals with education. And thank you very much for your time today, and have a blessed day.